I honestly thought Bud was gonna get shot last night, and I thought Kasim was gonna get shot last night because the dude they had the guns pointed to his face, and then the other guy had the gun pointed to the security face, and then another officer rolled up and pulled the gun to my face, and I'm like, "Man, what the fuck you pulling the gun on me for?" You get what I'm saying? Why you pulling the, you know what I mean? So he like, look, what you pulling the gun on me for? Dude, put the gun down. That is very unnecessary. I told you where it's at. It's told you where it's at. So he was like, man, unbuckle the seatbelt and get out of the car. But like, I'm not unbuckling no seatbelt. You got a gun in my face. You unbuckle the seatbelt. He say, I'm not unbuckling the seatbelt. You got a gun in my face, dude. Because this is the thing, right? See, with these officers, they look for any reason to shoot you. So they'll tell you to unbuckle the seatbelt. If you reach over to try to unbuckle it, bang, bang, bang. He said he had a firearm in the car. You know, I was in fear of my life. I honestly thought Bud was gonna get shot last night.
All right, Shalom. This is Power Thumb of the Great Millstone Houston Camp, back with another lesson to edify the elect of the nation of Israel. So before I begin, as always, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rachak Kwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of the Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessing, and salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and all the Israelites scattered abroad, who have received this truth, and who endure to the end, the same shall be saved by our Lord Yahweh Shai when he returns with the angels to destroy our enemies, starting with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and to deliver the elect on the so-called UFOs. All right, so you heard the video. Now in this video, you got the bottom visual does not match the top encounter with the police. All right, two different events. Now I seen this video probably about 2 or 3 years ago at the bottom about a military guy almost getting shot. But this is Bud Crawford. You know, I forget what weight class 168 is. All right, he's the champion. Just beat Carnelo. Went to his parade Saturday, and that later on that night, after his after party, he got pulled over for what they said was reckless driving, and he got held at gunpoint by what perceived to be a so-called white man. All right, which we know the true biblical nationality is Esau, Edom, and these Edomites, they have eternal hatred in them against us, the Israelites, which the Israelites are us, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as I said before. All right, and they just hate us. Why is there so much animosity between so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and so-called white people? Why? Because it goes back to the Bible. All right. Now I want to go get a precept real quick. This is Genesis 25. It all goes back to the Bible. The answers are in the scriptures. Okay. This is verse 27. I mean, Salakia, chapter 27. All right. And we both come from the same parents, Isaac, the father, and Rebekah. All right. Isaac and Rebekah had Esau and Jacob. Esau represents the so-called white people. Jacob represents the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You have different tribes of Esau, and you have 12 tribes of Jacob. All right. And that's why we carry the sign, according to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, all the so-called uh, names, which is our captive names, versus our true biblical nationalities and our locations where we'll be at in captivity in these last days. Now, let's see. This is Genesis 27 and 41. And I'm going to start at 39. Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. This is the blessing that was given to Esau. So pretty much Jacob was given a superior blessing than Esau. All right, and Esau got, supplanted out of his blessing. Ultimately, it was for Jacob in the first place, because before this, he sold his birthright. Now his blessing was supplanted from him, which was the ultimate plan of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua from the get-go. All right, and this is how it played out. Because before they was born, it says that the older shall serve the younger. So we understand that it was nothing that Esau could have done to receive the birthright and the blessing. It was ultimately for Jacob. It was ultimately for Jacob from the beginning, before they was even conceived in the womb. Now it's just being played out like this to even enrage Esau even more. This is Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. So the fatness of the earth goes into the best lands on earth, all right, and the resources of the earth. And this is what the so-called white man has under his control and in his possession until this day. All right, he has the best plots of land, the best islands, okay, the best spots in these different countries. All right, and he puts us, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, his number one enemy in the worst spots in the world. All right, even when you go into American history, how the natives, and I believe there was the Seminole Indians, which would be Reuben, was sent to the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma. Now, when there was found liquid gold, which is all in Oklahoma, they sent Edomites to take over that land and to push the Seminole Indians to lands in Oklahoma and outside of Oklahoma that had even less resources. All right, so this is what Esau does. It says, and the dew of heaven from above, meaning they would just be showered with blessings. Verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live. So this has happened all the way in history. Esau conquers other nations by his superior weapon, technology, for lack of better words. All right, far as creating weapons and using weapons, Esau, the so-called white man, is more superior than any nation on the planet. This goes back to his blessing that he was given as Esau, and this same blessing has being given to his descendants. All right. So ultimately, this blessing will be fulfilled through his descendants. Okay. And it says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And this happened during the time after King David. All right. And when King Solomon had went off, the kingdom was split. Esau broke from under that yoke of Israel. And now he's no longer under that yoke. And now he's, as it's going to say in verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. So don't think for a second that these white people care about any of your accomplishments. They hate you. All right. And no matter what you do, they're going to hate you. All right. That's why Jake have protested. They've marched. They've integrated. They've went through slavery. They accepted Jesus Christ, and they're still hated. They followed democracy. They followed the system. They go to college. They become, entertainers and professionals and professors, and they're still looked at as the worst nation on the planet. There's nothing that you can do to please them. They hate you. It says, and Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then would I slay my brother Jacob. And this is in innate nature of these Edomites to have a hatred and want to kill you Israelites. All right. From the elite Edomites all the way to the least peon Edomites. Okay. They hate you and they want to see you unalived. All right. And this is what we seen with Crawford, with Saturday. Now, let me read this first and I'll see what I can get out of this. I typed in Google, what is the meaning of Jay-Z's song OJ and does it relate to systemic racism? All right. Now it's going to break it down if you haven't heard the song. It's a good song, in my opinion. This is AI overview. Jay-Z's song, The Story of OJ, critiques the OJ problem, where successful black people, as Bud is, believe their wealth and fame allow them to transcend racial identity. Now, I don't know if Bud believed that, but I know he don't now. All right? Because our people, they get some wealth and they believe that they can now rub shoulders with the so-called white man, but they always get their nigga wake-up call. It's a notion, Jay-Z argues, is a dangerous illusion perpetrated by systemic racism. All right, and it is an illusion. And they use that same illusion in witchcraft on our people to make them feel and believe that if you get on a certain level, that you will be accepted. Okay, the world, the so-called white people will accept you, and the world will accept you. And once you get on that level, every Negro has their nigga wake-up call. Every Latino has their nigga wake-up call. All right? It says, let me get this real quick. Just see, man, so many precepts. But I'm going to just hit this Deuteronomy 28 real quick. Deuteronomy 28. And I watched the brother from the elder in Las Vegas. I watched his lesson. All right. GMS Vegas sit downs. Karatazar. Elder Karatazar. And it was a good lesson. You go watch it. And he brought out this Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Now I ain't gonna bring that out. I'm gonna jump down. Let me see. Yep, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in all thy ways. Thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee, meaning no man shall deliver thee. And just because one Negro or 10 or 100 seem as if they had risen above racism and now they achieved equality because of their accolades or their physical achievements, they can never be accepted in the same circles as these upper echelon so-called white people, the Edomites, or any other nations. There's a certain ceiling that you can hit, and it's a club that you're not a part of. All right. So regardless of what it looks like, the illusion that's painted for some of our so-called superstars, all right, they're still not prospering because ultimately everything that they have, everything that they own belongs to the so-called white man. I don't care if it's cars, any material wealth, the so-called white man owns it. Okay. It says because of the system. It's just the system that he set up is the illusion of freedom, is the illusion of owning, all right, and being being an owner. It's all an illusion because within his laws, he has made sure that you can own nothing. All right. And the whole world is about to witness this new transition to the fourth industrial revolution where it be shown that you never owned anything. All right. This is why the main thing that our people should be focused on is repenting, turning back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and the fact that you're Israelites. All right. And knowing and doing what's required of you from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because judgment is coming. All right. Judgment is right across the door, and no matter how many Federal Reserve notes that you got, okay, elite banker Edomite money that you have, nothing will give you power to escape this harsh reality, all right, that's coming from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to this world using the wicked, which are these Edomites, the so-called white people. All right. Now, this incident is little in comparison of what these elite Edomites have prepared for you Israelites as a whole. All right. And their main focus is us. That's bringing out this truth and exposing their hand and their plans. All right. And their true intentions. Because Esau likes to hide his intentions because he the damn devil. All right. He is the wicked that the Bible speaks of. All right. It says, okay, now let's go down a little bit. It says, yeah. Deuteronomy 28:37, thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. All right, so that's what we are. We're proverbs and bywords. We're talked about. All right, in negative ways. We're negatively stereotyped. All right, and the Esau has set up this system to make sure that our people fall into these traps and these negative stereotypes. Now, from watching, Bud, which he's just being used as catalyst for this video, he seems to hold himself with some dignity and respect, right? But Esau don't give a shit about that, and it pisses him off even more. See, it's nothing that you can do to please these Edomites. If you act like a coon, they hate you. If you act like a man, they hate you because now you're intimidating. If you you hold back, you try to be PC and you speak correctly and say everything right, they still hate you because now who this nigga think he is, right? You can never win, okay? And if these average peons think like this, how much more these elite Edomites that know who you are and know your history and your greatness and what power is backing you. All right. They really hate you. All right. So let me see real quick. I'll try to get this in the NLT, see what it says. Deuteronomy 28. And let's see. Okay, 37. Yep. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 37. You will become an object of horror. All right. Ridicule and mockery all among all nations to which Yahweh sends you. So under the rule of this Edomite, which is prophesied in these last days, the saints will be oppressed by the fourth beast. All right. Which Esau, so-called white man, is the ruler over this beast, which is the Roman Empire and the revived Roman Empire being America and NATO and the EU. We're ridiculed and we're made mockery of. All of these, the blackface and these little jingles that they used to say it, what's one of them? I know the ice cream song goes back to mocking you Israelites. Any, meeny, miny, mo, pick a nigga by the toe, right? This mockery, all right, and ridicule. We're categorized as the worst people on the planet, starting with the Southern Kingdom, all right, and specifically Judah. Judah is the most hated man on the planet, the so-called African American, right? And then the West Indian and the Haitian, which includes the Israelites over there in west coast of Africa, right? That come over here to America, and after 2 or 3 generations, you can't tell that they from Nigeria or Mali, right? And they get treated just like they're Negroes, African Americans. All right, because that's where we come from. That's where we came from, transatlantic slave trade, right? So that's just what it is. All right, that's just what it is. This is the condition that we've been put in because of Deuteronomy 28 and 15. All right, as it says in Daniel 9th chapter. I'm gonna get that one. Daniel 9. Let's see. Daniel 9 and Daniel 9 and 9. But Yahweh our power is merciful and forgiving, even though we have rebelled against him. We have not obeyed Yahweh our power, for we have not followed the instructions he gave us through his servants, the prophets. This is in the NLT. So because we disobeyed the prophets, okay, by not keeping the Heavenly Father's instructions, which are his laws, statutes, and commandments, then this is the position that we in, the curses. Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68. All Israel have disobeyed your instructions and turned away, refusing to listen to your voice, which came by the prophets and now are coming through the prophets. And you Israelites have not learned your lesson until this day. So now the solemn curses and judgments written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, have been poured down on us because of our sins. So the scripture says in Deuteronomy 28 that they should pursue us and overtake us. They have come down on us, so you can't escape them. Now in verse 12 says, you have kept your word and done to us and our rulers exactly as you warned. Never has there been such a disaster as happened in Jerusalem. So we have caught it the worst from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, more than any nation. And that's being shown. It's being shown because we at the bottom. All right. Now, let me see. It says that we should have fear for our life. Okay. This is Deuteronomy 28. Let me see what the NLT says. All right. Salakia. 28. Deuteronomy 28 and 65. They're among these nations where we're scattered, because this America is not our land. We're going back to our land. But we was exiled out of our land because of disobedience. This is a part of the curses where we are behind enemies' lines, and our people don't move as if they're behind enemies' lines. They move as if they're free, as if they believe the Constitution applied to them. Okay? As far as equality goes, we was never considered as being equal with the so-called white man. We was considered to be 3/5 and second-class citizens. All right, that's in the Constitution. And the only reason they gave you rights is because Edomites could benefit off of it. All right, because we exploited for our talents. Deuteronomy 28 and 65. There among these nations you will find no peace or place to rest. Even if you win, what is it? I don't think it's the middleweight. I think it's one class below the middleweight. All right. What if I win the 168-pound championship of the world? Can I still not find peace and rest? No. You could get a gun pointed to your face in a small city in Nebraska named Omaha, right? Where everybody know everybody. Right? It says, and Yahweh will cause your heart to tremble, your eyesight to fail, and your soul to despair. Your life will constantly hang in the balance. You will live night and day in fear, unsure if you will survive. And this happens. It happened more in slavery, hardcore slavery. It happened more during the time of Jim Crow in the Reconstruction era, but it still happens now. All right. Now, I want to go read this again. Jay-Z, AI overview. Jay-Z songs, The Story of OJ, critiques the OJ problem, where successful black people believe the wealth and fame allow them to transcend racial identity, a notion Jay-Z argues is a dangerous illusion perpetuated by systemic racism. The song encouraged black community to build generational wealth and solidarity rather than seeking white acceptance, using O.J. Simpson's controversial "I'm not black, I'm O.J." And you can never, separate yourselves from the so-called white man using the so-called white man's money. It doesn't make sense. All right? Building generational wealth is not a possibility. Okay? Yeah, your son may receive, inheritance from his father. That's good. All right? I heard one interview where Bud was like, my children ain't got a box. They good. They set. All right? And I'm pretty sure he got enough for their children to be set. And now people call that generational wealth. But all of that wealth can be taken. All right? All of that wealth is being taken. It's being stole. Taxes. All right? All around us. The scriptures let us know that in the setup of the Edomite supremacy, we will have no rest and no peace. So it may seem good now, but later it won't. It can all go downhill in one day, and it almost did. But this is again light potatoes compared to what's about to come. The whole nation of Israel is about to catch it, and these elite Edomites that's working for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua don't care about your wealth, and it's not even wealth. It's just possessions that's not going to equal up to no wealth because there's no future in America. Everything is going to be destroyed. It says, in solidarity rather than seeking white acceptance. And it's hard, to get through these readings, these AI overviews, because they make the points clear for the prophets to go and use the scriptures, all right, and filter everything they saying through the scriptures. But they hit the points and they get, straight to it. And then it's exciting. You break it down and you keep going. But then another sentence, you make another point. So just bear with me. I'm trying to get through it. It says, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Line is a cautionary example. It explores themes of black identity, financial empowerment, and the enduring nature of racial prejudice in America. And that's what Bud experienced. And we have all experienced this racial prejudice. All right, I've been pulled over, and never happened before, but when it was happening, I was like, damn, this nigga racially profiling me right now. Talking about, is there drugs in the vehicle? And I like, nah, I don't smoke. It's like, you mind if I search the vehicle? But before that, it was more of a, you sure? Sure there's no drugs in there? I'm like, bro, it's racial profiling. All right? The whole war on drugs was a war against you Israelites. And all of these different wars that Esau is now bringing up, the war on immigration, the war on criminals. All of these is war on you Israelites. The war against hate speech. It's a war against you Israelites, mainly, which ultimately they want total control over the world. All right? But the main target is you Israelites. Now, I'm gonna read this. All right? It's pretty good. I'm going to try to get through it. Meaning of the story of OJ. A critique of OJ's problem. The song addresses the idea that black individuals, through fame and wealth, can distance themselves from their racial identity, becoming separate from their community. No. All right, you still, no matter how far you get up the ladder, you still a nigga. And that's how Jay-Z, that's how he said it in the song, still nigga. And Jay-Z, he's bought and paid for. Okay, he pushes this generational wealth and black excellence, while all in the pocket of the small hats. Okay. Call of black solidarity. Jay-Z emphasizes the importance of black people investing in themselves. The ultimate investment and the only investment is storing your treasure in heaven, knowing you're an Israelite, believing in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, your faith. All right? That's the only investment, which is invested into this truth. Is it going to have any payoff? Anything other than that, you're going to be disappointed. It says, in building generational wealth to create collective strength and financial independence. All right? Look, Esau is going to a digital RFID chip, which is the MOTB. And if you don't get down with his programs, his regulations, All right, you ain't gonna have no wealth. All right, Carl Schwab said it. You will own nothing and be happy. All of these, boxing and football, rap and you know, streamers and movie stars, all of that is just bread and circus to keep you Israelites entertained. All right, so your mind can be fixed on what you got going in your immediate life, which is nothing. All right, which is nothing. If you're not in this truth and showing your work by your faith, what you got going on is nothing. All right, it says rejection of white acceptance. The song suggests that striving for white acceptance is futile, as racial discrimination persists regardless of social status. Is still gonna be there. Why? Because the scriptures say so. All right, let's get this real quick. This is Ezekiel. Can't go too long without getting a precept. All right. This is Ezekiel 35:5, because that has had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time of our slavery, in the time of us being under these curses in slavery, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Yahweh shot and paid the price. We woke up to the Israelites. That should be enough. No. Esau still continues this perpetual hatred in the shedding of blood of the Israelites. All right. But therefore, as I live, said the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate. That's America. And cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. A total wasteland, a desert wasteland where nothing will be left but desert-like creatures. All right. Due to the thermonuclear warheads. See, this is the justice that our people should be crying for. Crying to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah for. All right. Not for police to get fired. All right. Not for us to have our own and leave them alone. For this place to get the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. This is what we should be crying out for. All right. And the elect is. This is financial empowerment. It advocates for financial literacy and responsible investments within the black community, contrasting it with the pursuit of material possession like cars and jewelry. All right. And our people have tried this before. You had so-called black communities. Okay. You had black business. You had black cities. All right. You had Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. You had black communities in Atlanta going hard. You had black communities in New York, Harlem, going hard, booming. What happened? Esau destroyed them for whatever reason he came up with, whatever lie he came up with, he destroyed them. Because there's no future here in America for you Israelites. And there's still hope. That's not to make you depressed. It's to give you hope in the future kingdom, but not here. All right. The scriptures tell us to just get our daily bread. All right. You got talent, use it. You got skills, use it. But don't let it use you. All right. A cautionary tale. O.J. Simpson's story serves as a metaphor for those who believe they have risen above their race, only to be confronted with the reality of systemic racism. All right. They say racism don't exist, but racism is within a system of Edomite supremacy. All right. And we've seen that with Bud. We seen that before Bud. This happens all the time. We seen it with CK. CK went down. 2 Negroes in Mississippi went down, hanging like strange fruit. One on college campus. All right. So you can miss us with the bullshit of it's different. You know, that was back then. Those was my foreparents. All right. Equality, love. Oh, you can miss us with that. It's all a lie that Esau has concocted to deceive you Americans so he can get the advantage. All right. But who's in ultimate control? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and his devil going down. All right. So with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Ruach HaKodesh, Barakathon, Shalom.